Let's do some more Daniel. Or actually,
Daniel.
let's do a quick browse of Smile to Jannah, see if there's anything good.
Okay, so you, madam, requested a video from Smile to Jannah.
And I'm still emotionally and mentally bracing myself because Smile to Jannah is not known for, I don't know how to put this, making points with the most clarity, basis, strength of argument, presentation.
Yes, but no, presentation though. I mean, he doesn't make the best arguments, but presentation style and editing, he's number one, isn't he?
Bruh.
I mean,
Yes.
yeah. All right. So you requested this video. Sweden
Ooh,
burns
he has
Quran
a
on
filter on
Muslim.
it. Get sparkly. Do we know what his name is?
Zishan Ali.
Zishan.
Zishan. People refer to him as Smile to Jannah.
I know, but you can't make that short and cute.
Why is it sparkly?
Kawaii.
I don't understand. Okay, let's see where this is. Okay.
So on the day that Muslims were celebrating their festival of Eid, Sweden allowed a man under police protection to stick bacon in a Quran and burn it publicly. Now Sweden has
as opposed to what? As opposed to like you can put bacon on this book but not on that book, and that would be the law?
Well, and also if he did do that to a different book, he wouldn't need police protection.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, people are like, police protection. Wow, Sweden have police protection for the guy. I mean,
protection,
that's more
but no, it begs the question: protection from what?
Yeah, exactly. So you're trying to embarrass Sweden, but the fact that he required police protection embarrasses another group of people, I think.
And to be fair, when this guy did burn, when he did do this act, according to reports I have read, the surrounding area, they were there to protest against him, as is also their right to do so. But they were like,
yes,
there was only one person that like tried to throw stones at him for a second. He was like quickly arrested. And all the other Muslims, there was.
Oh, I didn't know.
There was all the other Muslims there were just like, I feel sorry for this guy. That's on the reporting that I have seen.
Most Muslims would not commit acts of violence, but the fact that the people who do commit acts of violence are higher within this community is embarrassing, to be honest, and telling. Right? So again, saying that most people who would commit acts of violence against somebody who criticizes or ridicules or blasphemes a religion is more likely to be coming out of Muslims is not contradictory to the fact that most Muslims will never commit such an act of violence. These two things are true. These two things are true at the same time.
Bacon in a Quran and burn it publicly. Now, Sweden has the highest population of atheists, the so-called peak of civility, if we concede that believing in a God is incivility. Is this what?
Why would you concede that? Because I wouldn't say that.
Yeah, what? Like you're just putting
what?
This is Europe. By the way, a lot of people would not believe that. A lot of people would not claim that. Even atheists, a lot of them would not claim that. A lot of atheists will call you a bigot for even suggesting that.
Oh yeah, like they would be the first to be like, "Excuse me." They would have my reaction. I just had that reaction in defense of you, my guy. Like.
Yeah, well, but look at the way he talks about atheists. You're being a bigot. You are being a bigot yourself. About the way you talk about atheists is bigoted, and you're trying to act like a victim as if atheists are being bigoted against you. How come people don't recognize this as bigotry? The way that the hateful way people talk about atheists, that should be considered bigotry.
Yeah.
Imagine if I talked about this. Oh, Muslims. These like just that tone. Every time I talk about Muslims, if I want to call some of them out, I am careful to be okay. Not all of them are like you just saw, like just right now, right before
you said
this video.
One word in that tone, and I got defensive.
Yeah,
I felt myself physically go.
I just pretended to be a bigot, and Susanna almost puked. I wasn't even being a bigot. I was doing the acting of a bigot, and Susanna couldn't even handle it. She was disgusted. So we can't even try to be big. The way that we can't imagine talking about Muslims, he talks in that tone about atheists and is comfortable about it.
Well, he's like, mischaracterizing atheists as that while also being bigoted to Muslims at the same time.
It's just so many circles of bigotry. But he like you saw the beginning. Right at the beginning of the video, when we were talking about the Muslims, we were like, oh my God, let's make sure that we're not generalizing. Like me and Susanna were both like, okay, well, the vast majority of Muslims are not violent. We're like, we are an anti-Islam atheist channel that constantly is trying to make sure that we're not generalizing Muslims. We're careful about it. But look at how this mofo is talking about atheists. And nobody, including atheists, feels disgusted about it. Like we have been trained to feel disgust when somebody is talking in general terms about Muslims. Did you see how the way you reacted? But even us as atheists don't feel the same level of disgust when we see somebody having that tone about atheists. Yeah, like, but we should develop that disgust. Like, why don't we have that? Why is it when somebody like, oh, these atheists, blah, 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 we're like, oh, that's wrong. But we don't feel the same knee-jerk disgust that we have when somebody talks the same tone about Muslims or Jews or black people.
I get it when I hear Muslims talk about ex-Muslims a certain way.
Again, because they're minority, because a lot of them are brown and minority. So that's why you have developed that disgust. But not generally with atheists. Even though the atheists, the bigotry against atheists is just so goddamn common. We need to start recognizing this as a problematic. However, to be fair, there's a justifiable excuse for why we feel more disgust towards those things, because there has been a history of abuse and genocide, right? Like when it comes to Jews, like if somebody talks at the same tone about Jews, we're like, oh my God, because there's a history there. With black people, there's a history there. Against Muslims, there's a history there. So maybe with
atheists, there's a history there. We just don't know it. Most people don't know it.
Yes, you're right. So counter to my counter. We need to understand that there's also a history there. Look at the level of, I'm proud of us. But anyway, let's say what the point here is, Shane.
On and burn it publicly. Now, Sweden has the highest population of atheists, the so-called peak of civility, if we concede that believing in a God is incivility. Is this advancement? That believing in a God is incivility. Is this what advancement and liberal education leads to? Is this what atheists and atheism?
Well, I mean, to be fair, liberal education leads to you understanding that you have freedom of expression. So
I'm like, actually, it does. It does lead to the state protecting your right to express yourself in ways that doesn't harm others. It actually does lead to that. Yeah, no, you're right. You nailed it. Cool.
Yeah, you nailed that part, but not the part that you're confusing liberal education with atheism. These are not the same thing. I mean, they're both good things, but not the same thing. I don't understand why you're just talking about atheism and liberal education as if you're just talking about the same concept.
Does it lead to a government system in which we realize that you do not have a right to not be offended, which is the essence of blasphemy law?
You do not have the right to not be offended.
To be protected from offense.
You're right. You do not have the right to be protected from offense.
And that is what liberalism leads to. It is.
Yes, exactly. So you're basically, another way to put it is, you being offended is not enough excuse to limit someone's freedom.
Exactly.
Education leads to? Is this what atheists and atheism has to offer? I must say, I'm not too impressed. So on
that was it. That was it.
Okay. But this, and also this is not what atheism has to offer. This is what liberal education has to offer. Yeah.
See, this is what I was talking about. Smile to Jannah and his clarity of his points.
Yes, you're right. You're right. Again, you don't even have to be an atheist to understand that liberal countries, freedom of expression leads to countries where even Muslims are happier at. Okay, so this is not
I
what
have Muslim
atheism
friends that
leads
tell
to.
me that. They're like, there's no other country I would rather be a Muslim than in America.
In a country where
And they lived
where
in
it respects your
Islamic
freedom.
countries.
Yeah. So here's the thing, Smile to Jannah. The reason why Muslims leave Islamic countries and come to liberal countries has something to do with the fact that there are liberal countries. Because it just so happens that liberalism and liberal values such as freedom of expression and secularism leads to better societies.
Prosperity.
Societies that is not better just for atheists, societies that are better also for religious people, also for Muslims. We as liberals, not as atheists, we as liberals, the reason why we fight for freedom of expression is not because we're anti-Muslim, is because we are pro-Muslim. Because and the reason why we are pro-Muslim is because we are pro-people, and Muslims are people. When we are fighting for the right to burn the Quran, I know this might be hard for you to understand, but we are actually fighting for you. We are fighting for Muslims as well, because we know liberalism leads to happier societies.
The vast majority of people that are criminalized and lynched for blasphemy are Muslims.
Exactly.
Maybe having protected free expression when we actually prevent Muslim death and suffering.
Exactly. Perfectly said.
Just putting it out
That's
there.
good.